in and stuff. Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy D with On the Porch, and today we got a special guest today, all the way from out the east, from where the night walk.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
from where the night walk, across the canal, CTC.
yeah.
But he came all the way uptown. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look, I know he's from out the night walk. He uptown. He uptown. Just give him a break.
Give me a break,
Give him a
man.
break. Give him a break.
Ease up a little bit.
But we got my dude Ray straight from Hangout NOLA.
Yes, sir.
All the way in New Orleans East, man. He come uptown. And look, y'all, he got some major things that goes on out there at Hangout NOLA. He doing this for the community because, you know, I'm pretty sure the idea came about thinking about kids. Yeah. Trying to give kids something to do. Because you had a Nerf gun thing, man, y'all follow them. Y'all know we got all kinds of stuff going on out there for them now. And then now you doing the thing with the young lady who had the cigar bar.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they into a whole lot of stuff. Ray doing a whole lot of stuff in New Orleans, and he doing it in the East to show y'all, look, New Orleans East is a thriving place to go to.
Absolutely.
And it's not what people say it is.
Yeah, man.
You know, so let's get right into it. What's up, Ray? How you
Man,
doing,
I'm fooling. D, listen, bro. Blessings, King. I appreciate you for allowing me to grace the porch today.
Oh man, you good. You good.
I done seen a lot of great interviews on this porch, and even though it's uptown, I'm out here. But yeah, man, look, when I worked, man, years ago when I worked for Enterprise, that was the most exposure I got to uptown, bro. When I tell you I'm a ninth ward dude through and through, boy, when I come uptown, I get nervous, I get lost. I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. Bro, I go to itching. I'm like, man,
bro, that's what I do when I cross that damn bridge going in the night walking, like looking around like, wait a minute, what? So nah, bro, but you good. You good. You
yeah, man, I know I'm with good people.
You know what it is, and then we got the gentrifiers and took over.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
So I'm being real, and I tell it to a lot of people. Even though I'm from up here, born and raised right up here, Josephine and Magnolia, right? And this is before Katrina. Ain't no way in the world I'd be able to sit on this porch and do it. Ain't no way in the world. And not because I didn't know people in the Magnolia, because I did, but it was just.
Yeah.
It was just like,
nah, it was like that.
Yeah, it was like
that.
Nah, look. Yeah. On the porch is going to be inside my house.
Right. We're going to bring the porch inside. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But I get you, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, things are certainly different, you know, and to me, that's a great transition to talk about New Orleans East, right? You know, the black eye that New Orleans East has had is certainly post Katrina has been discouraging, you know, often, you know, because man, I remember when you know, when we were young, I remember, man, people who lived in the East, if you went to school with a cat that went to the East, you'd be like, man, your people must got money, bro.
That was the thing, right?
That was the thing. I remember I have a partner that his parents lived in Eastover when we were like in high school, maybe. Mm-hmm. I remember going back there and being like, man, like I ain't know people was living like that looked like us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, fortunately, in the Ninth Ward, you know, across the canal, man, you had like the largest population of black homeowners. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that people tend to forget. But at the same time, like the East was in a totally different category. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so many people, you know, and not even just us. Mm-hmm. But so many people, even the different races, lived out there, and they were kind of well-to-do and had a lot going on for their families and their situations. And you think about that comparison to what the East, the reputation is now. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. And the funny thing is, a lot of the people that were thriving and were in the East then are still there. They still raising their families. It's the next generation of young people and, you know, coming up and trying to do great things for their family. But all of that gets overshadowed by the negative, you know, narrative and stuff like that. And, you know, to be honest with you, D, in some cases, it's kind of self-imposed, right? That you can't assume that there's something happening that isn't. right? So it's not as if crime isn't happening, but crime happens everywhere in New Orleans, right? So why is there such a bad, light shown all the time on the East? And I just really, me personally, I think it's a part of a narrative that has an intent behind it, right? Yes. Like the intent is one of the only places left that has land. Like there's so much opportunity in the East. And I think that the narrative is to help move us away so that other things can be created. And that's a whole nother conversation. But
it's something that we don't talk about, which is the truth, though. Yeah. Because like you said, if you go back how it was when we were coming up, right? Everybody ran to the East when you started making money. Mm-hmm. You started having any kind of financial stability. You ran to New Orleans East. Right. And that's pretty much what the other folks did. They ran to New Orleans East when it was like, okay, we're going to let them have the city. We're going to go to New Orleans East. We're going to go to Covington. We're going to go to Slidell. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And now that everybody's trying to come back into the city because they see, okay, well, wait, hold up. You're right by the Superdome. You're right by downtown, the French Quarter right there. Mm-hmm. All these things happen in the city. So let's try to get back in the city, and we're going to just push everybody to New Orleans East. Right. And we're going to try to make it affordable by making these negative connotations about New Orleans. Right. Absolutely. Because that's the only way you can make it affordable. Right. Because you have to drop the prices, because you have to say poverty. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Poverty, nothing's happening back there. So we're going to make it affordable for any and everybody. Right. But we're going to price everybody out in the city to run them to New Orleans. I don't know. Am I making sense when I say that?
Yeah, man. Like that's definitely a part of that. I think on the flip side too, D, is when you think about the opportunity, like anybody who knows about real estate knows that when you get into an area that's, blighted, that has graffiti everywhere, like the property value goes significantly down. It puts you in a position, if you have the capital, to buy low when that happens. Mm-hmm. So when you decrease the value of a population, a person who has the money gets to come in and buy it at a much lower rate than they would if it was it's seen as a thriving community, right? Right. So you can go and buy a building in New Orleans East, let's say, that would cost you significantly more if you go into the warehouse district, the garden district, or certain areas of uptown. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't be able to buy that same size building for the same price because the people are thriving in this community. Like, they don't have blighted buildings. They don't, but so I really think that, to your point, it's the pushing the poverty aspect of it, but it's also with the intent in my mind to lower prices for people who have the capital gain to benefit from it. So,
but right, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But the only way we can do that is by bringing it down to its lowest form, right? And then we could come on in, sort of like what the city was. The city was at its, because before pre-Katrina, you lived here pre-Katrina. We all know this was the worst place to really come talk about raising a family. Yeah, yeah. Coming uptown, as much as I grew up there and I'm from here, and we talk about it, but when you really look at it in actuality, uptown was really, as an adult now, you're like, why would I want to raise my family uptown in the early 90s? Why would I want that? Why would I want to be around that? So it brought it really to his knees, to his all-time low, to where he was able to come back in and just scoop it up. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it.
No, man. I think you right on it with that. I mean, and that happens all across the country, man. We're seeing that happen in places even outside of New Orleans, of course. In some cases it makes things better to some extent, right? But it also can extract the culture from a lot of places, and you kind of lose the identity that you once had. I was having a conversation recently with somebody, this whole New Orleans versus NOLA situation, and it's like we miss New Orleans. If you were from here pre-Katrina, you miss New Orleans, and this again. Another conversation, man. But that stuff crazy, bro.
Dude, really, because I was telling somebody that the other day, they was like, yeah, man, NOLA. I said, hold up, time out. Don't call it NOLA. It's New Orleans. Right. It's New Orleans, man. But I'm saying NOLA, nah, bro. I'm from here, born and raised from here.
Right.
It's New Orleans, man.
Absolutely.
We in Louisiana, but we never added Louisiana on into that. It wasn't New Orleans, Louisiana. It was New Orleans.
It was New Orleans, straight up.
Because for some reason, a lot of people don't understand it. And I be telling people, I was like, we in Louisiana, but we our own little entity.
Own culture,
right?
Everything, man. Everything.
Like even though Baton Rouge an hour away, that's Baton Rouge, man. Even though that's Baton Rouge. This is New Orleans, man.
Yeah,
we got our whole own setup on how this thing works.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that NOLA kind of still stick with me now.
Right. Yeah, man. But like, like I say, man, it's a lot that's different. But like there's a lot of things that stay the same in good ways. When you mentioned earlier on about when it comes to the hangout, like the intent behind it, being rooted in community, being rooted in trying to help to make things better and to get things back with the way they once were, right? Growing up in the across the canal, man, I was accustomed to playing outside with friends and doing things that I don't see kids get to do as much these days. And I'm really, I was talking to my partner the other day, and my son was upset because we were in the barbershop and his iPad battery died. And I'm like, bro, I don't care nothing about that, dog. Like, sit down and chill. But I'm like, I just think about like how ingrained with these, how in touch with these devices the kids are, because they don't have as much of the concept of just going outside and play the way we used to, right? And so the thing with the hangout is, number one, when thinking about the aspect of creating a space where the young people could feel safe, be themselves, organically be who they are, socialize. The whole thing was to create a space, even though it has gaming in it, to get them off the devices, to get them to interact, right? Like everything in the hangout, just about every, game or whatever in the hangout requires two people. And that was intentional because I wanted people to come in there and interact. If D comes in and he's by himself and Ray comes in by himself, the idea is that they're going to be friends when they leave. They're going to exchange information. It's like,
they got to interact with each other. Because I can't just play this by myself.
Right. You can't play air hockey by yourself. You can't play Jenga or Connect Four by yourself. You can play the game by yourself, but I have two chairs at each gaming station intentionally. So somebody else could feel free to come sit down. Let me go sit by, man. What you playing? You playing man, bro? Let me jump on too. You know what I'm saying? So all of that just to try to instill in them the social skills that I feel like a lot of them lack. And my whole thing, man, with a lot of the stuff that we see in our society is lack of proper communication. It ain't just in kids, it's in grown folk too. Like, we don't take the time to really talk and understand each other before we react, and if you have that opportunity to where you can kind of talk and realize the things you got in common, like, we could automatically think that we super different, right? Okay, D from uptown, I'm from across the canal. That's two different places, right? Okay, D went to such and such school, I went to such, that's something different. But why focus on those differences, then start to make the connections of, you just told me you have two cousins that went to the same high school I went to, right? Those cousins graduated 2 years before me, so I was there when they were there. We start to connect the dots and realize, such and such, man, that's my people. Oh, man, I went to school with that dude. I played ball with him. So it's just all of these different ways that we learn to connect with one another. And if we draw our attention to the connections that we have, it'll allow us to work through issues. When I realized that your mama and my mama grew up in the same project, when I realized that they went to the same high school, then it starts to make me think, man, look, man, I grew up around the corner from dude. My mama know his mama. He was older than me or he was younger than me, so I ain't play with him, but I know his mama. I know all his people, so I'm not going to try to play with him. We're going to have to figure out a way to talk through this because our people know each other and we ain't trying to cause those kind of problems. It's like when you focus on the things that deter you from the bad things, that's when you can start to make better decisions. And so when we created that space, we wanted to give our young people opportunities to move away from the bad decisions. And too often they don't act like kids because they're not always in positions to act like kids, right?
That's the biggest thing,
right? There's a lot of times there are things forced on them at early ages. Sometimes they make the decisions for that to happen, but I probably more often than not they're kind of forced into it because of whatever home life they may have, and that's no dig on mom, no dig on dad. Sometimes you just have to do stuff to survive, bro. We living in times, in perilous times, where you just sometimes he only 14, but he got to grow up a lot faster because mama working these jobs to support y'all, and he got to watch the kids. Yes, or he got to, as soon as he turned 15 and can get a job, he got to go get a job because we got to keep these lights on. So for the time that they're at the hangout, for the 3 hours they're at the hangout, my job is to make them feel like a kid. I want you to feel so safe when you're there, but feel safe enough to just kind of like be who you are. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now, my space, I demand respect, but I give it first, right? And I don't feel like at the tender age of almost 45, that I have to expect more, respect from a 15-year-old than I'm willing to give. Like, I'm gonna give you that level of respect because I wanna show you what respect looks like. So I'm gonna give it first, but I also expect it back. And not only do I expect you to respect me, I expect you to respect your peers that are in here. You don't know them. Y'all may not talk, after you leave here, but at least while y'all here, y'all gonna be respectful. Man, almost 3 years we've been open. Never once had a fight at the hangout. Never once had an argument I had to break up. And it's not because it's some goody two-shoe type place. It's because we set an environment where they feel good with just being who they are, and they recognize. You know how you walk up in a certain spot and you come on there on that bull, but you straighten up because you like, not in here. Like, it just don't feel like I can do it in here. It just feels different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we created a space like that, and without even saying, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. They just come in there and they just feel, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? When they come in, I'm dapping them off. I'm saying, hey, sweetheart, how you doing? Look, feel free to go do such and such. The parents feel comfortable. We've had maybe I could count on one hand how many parents I've had stay at the hangout. Like, we created a culture where they drop their kids off and they leave. They don't do it because I'm ready to get the hell out of here. They do it because they feel like they can trust that they're going to be in great hands while they're there. They come back, the kids got all their fingers still. You know what I'm saying? All their toes or their hair still in place. You know what I'm saying? Because when we there, we care for those kids like they're our own, man. My kids are there.
Right.
So, like, I treat everybody else's kids like they're my own, which also means that I'm gonna correct you when you're wrong. I'm not gonna be like, well, they ain't my child. They just a client. No, you're gonna be respectful while you here. And I don't do it in front of everybody. Right. I pull them to the side because I don't want you to feel embarrassed, but I want you to know it's a place of love, a place of respect. But go have a good time.
Right. Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro, that's pretty much, man, you covered everything. So
that wasn't my intent.
I know, right? I ain't got nothing else to say. Like, it's one of those things, because, man, dude, like, we really, like, in a nutshell, like, we kind of covered what I was looking for, like, trying to figure out what you thought about the East and how you feel like you can thrive in the East. You know what I'm saying? Why would you bring that to New Orleans?
Okay, yeah, I didn't cover that. Yeah, okay. Like, that's been a challenge, D. That's been a challenge, bro. I'm not an uphill battle. The reason that we're in the East is because I felt like it was where it needed to be. But it's also a testament to how God works. When I came up with the idea of the hangout, God put the idea in my spirit, talked to my wife about it. It was like the state of the youth was one of those times where it was at its all-time high with like consistent violence, carjackings, all that stuff. I'm like, man, we really need to create something where these kids could just be who they are. They could just be kids, right? And my wife is a lot more safe when it comes to entrepreneurship ideas than I am.
I need something that's gonna give me.
Yeah, like my every 2 weeks, she's very, cautious. I told her that on one night. The next morning when we got up, we didn't have the kids, which is always a great thing. We don't have no offense if my babies ever get to see this. When they not with us, we have clear minds, D. All them little jokers, they just take all your brain energy. Now listen, I don't but bring your kids to the hangout too. But they take all your mind energy. Parents know what I'm talking about. They just consume all of that because you trying to make sure they're straight. You trying to make sure they eat. Trying to make sure they ain't killing each other. So it's just like, listen, man. When we don't have them, we get the focus, and that's when all the ideas just come out. So the next morning, this joker had then found the space we in now. Yeah. She had then already went online, found that it was vacant. Look, I found the space. I'm like, this the same person who's super cautious with, but so I'm like, okay, God, clearly you trying to give me a message if the person that normally would shy away from this is like gung-ho, right? We went checked out the place, had a bad experience with the property owners. Well, it wasn't the property who pretended to be the property owners. They were the property managers. So we started shopping other places. So we went other places and nothing came through. Nothing we tried came through. We looped all the way back around to where we are, which is where we started. And that time they had a totally different like approach to us. And so it was just God was like, okay, this is where I want you to go. I'm gonna let you go out and play. I'm gonna let you go out and see what it is, but you're gonna come your behind right back because this is where you're supposed to be. Right? So we chose it, but God chose that spot for us. You know what I'm saying? Now, in that, I'm like, but this is hard, God. Like, people, they, it's unfortunate that as much support as we get, there's a lot of support that we still need that we don't. There's a lot of people that like, oh, I don't come for, I recently, cause man, when I tell you, D, I was on the edge of like, this may have to close. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, we have been in business for almost 3 years and I can count how many times we've actually made a profit in our business, but we keep pushing because I never wanted to give up on what God intended for us to do. Like the mission is bigger than us. So I just pray that he always make the provisions for me to keep the lights on, for me to keep the doors open, because I think about all the families that have been blessed by the Hangout and the ones who want to get there, but they're not quite old enough yet. Like they like, man, my baby 9. He can't wait till he turn 10 so he can come to the Hangout. So, it's just those type of situations, but it takes a whole village, man. And, I say all that to say that, it's been a challenge getting people in. Once they get there, they love it. But getting them there seems to be the challenge. And, when I recently was full transparent, with people and ask, look, tell me what it'll take for y'all to come here. Why haven't you been here? Have you heard of it? Have you not heard of it? And a couple of people responded about marketing. And I'm like, man, we have literally tried just about every type of advertisement you could think, but we've always put our own money into this. Like straight out the pocket. Me and my wife, like, we believed in it so much that we took our own and invested everything into this business. So its successes, its failures all fall on us, right? But I'm like, at a point you run dry and it's like, you start to think, okay, if I continue this, what does this mean for my family dynamic? Like, what is it doing for me mentally at this point? Like, what impact is it having on me and the family? And, we try to keep that from our kids as much as possible because we want them to be kids. But at the end of the day, I'm like, this is realistic adult type situations and, decisions that you have to make. But by the grace of God, no matter how dark it seems or how that road look like it's ending, he always gives one more piece of road to go. Oh, okay, so I could go this way now to connect back here. Like it's constantly doing that, you know?
And you know what though? I don't even go into the preaching part of it.
No, come on, man.
But you know what though? That's really just him trying to see if I could trust you with it. You know
Absolutely.
I got you, but I just gotta see if I could trust you with it. Yeah. So let me see if you're gonna trust me to do what I gotta do.
Absolutely.
And once I do what I gotta do, I'm gonna see if you trust me. I'm gonna keep giving. Because you gotta think about it. When you really sit down and think about if you really sit down and think about the Our Father prayer, right? Have you ever said that really, I'm talking about really think about it, right? There's everything you need in it, right? And he letting you know, I'm going to give you everything, your daily bread. Lord, give us our daily bread. I'm going to give you everything you need daily. But I got to make sure you trust me first.
Right.
So as long as you trust in me, I'm going to give you everything you need daily. So,
man,
so every time you see something happening, that's really him saying, okay, him and his wife been trusting me on this one here. All right. Keep them lights on for this month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And look, I say all the time, D, there's no testimony without a test, man. Like you gotta go through something. If life was easy enough for you to skate through it, like where would you give the credit to that for? You probably give it to yourself. Exactly. Like you wouldn't say, man, if it wasn't for God getting me through this, I wouldn't be able to have this podcast. If it wasn't for God putting me through this test, I wouldn't be able to have this nonprofit to bless these families that are at risk and provide these resources to them. If you hadn't experienced it yourself, if you hadn't seen it yourself, you know, when God brings you to your knees, the only thing you could do is look up, bro. And I'm like, bro, please just get me through this, man. Like, cause I don't see another way at this point. Like, but his vision is not ours. His ways are not ours. And so I'm grateful for how he consistently blessed me. I'm grateful for the queen that I have at my side. You know, we do this business together. I'm the face of the Hangout, and I do a lot to kind of promote it so they don't get to see her. But she right by my side, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when we in the space, we're doing it together, you know? So, the way we hold each other down, the way we kind of, you know, think about stuff and get stuff done, but it's just us two, right? So that's the challenge, you know, too, trying to figure everything out by ourselves, you know, but I've always been open to even asking, you know, families, what would y'all like to see here? Especially if your child hasn't been here, is there a reason? Have they not liked any of the ideas we've had? Because we try to be as eclectic as possible, man. We've done, like you said, Nerf gun. We do that. We've done dodgeball in the space. We've done a haunted house there. So around Halloween time, I do a haunted house. We do paint and sips. We just had a Mother's Day edition of a paint and sip last Friday. I mean, dances. We got the end of school year dance this Friday. It's just multiple things that we do. We're constantly flipping up. And you also mentioned, so I had an event, on the 25th of April. It was my first time doing this event called Cigars and Conversations, because I do things for adults too. So when I first opened the space, the space was open on Fridays and Saturdays for young people. And on Thursdays, I would do adult events. And it would be, you know, it still would be fun, youthful type events. It might be like a rep your school thing. So like, you know, my mom and her siblings and all my female cousins all went to Carver, right? They all went to Carver, you know, so like, you know, it might be like a rep your school thing. Where they Carver stuff. I wear my 3-5 stuff, you know, somebody wear they Kennedy, whatever the case is, right? You come in there and it might have been the game. We might have been watching the NFL game or watching, you know, whatever, basketball game might be on, depending on the season we in, right? And so we did stuff like that. We had like, a hip hop bingo that we do for adults and stuff like that. And in the early stages, it felt like it was kind of taking away the focus away from the youth. So we just stopped doing it, right? Well, I brought it back in last summer, and I just kind of revamped the type of things we did and how we went about doing them. And we've been successful with that. Like, and, you know, and when I say success, I don't mean like we've made a lot of money doing it, but we've created a culture and an expectations of excellence for people to come and have fun. You know what I'm saying? So we've done like paint and sips. We did, I did a paint, sip, and sing because I wanted it to be a little different. So we did like a random draw karaoke while you was doing it too, man. That's dope. And like I said, we did mixology, culinary class, all kind of wine tasting class, like all kind. I do something different every month. But this most recent thing that I did was the cigar and conversations, and the cigar lady came and was a guest there. But man, it was really dope. I just created this atmosphere for us to just, you know, for the cigar community, for people to come out. You know, we had drinks, we had food, we just had great atmosphere, conversation. So it was a really dope event. It was well attended. And then really my most popular adult thing has been my line dance class, bro. I don't know if you saw that, but
I saw it.
man,
but I'm a dude, man.
look,
Man, look. And I know you about to say dudes could come too, but it's just something about a line dance. I don't know. I just leave that to the women. They be like, one woman told me, "You ain't gonna have your fan." Hell, no, I ain't gonna have no dang on fan. I'm not gonna be out there popping no dang on fan.
And listen, I certainly listen. We are all engaging, all inclusive space, right? So I don't knock a man to have a fan, but when I teach the dance, I do like a little clap or something. You know what I'm saying? When I do the dance, I don't personally use a fan. I've had very few instances where men have come and used fans, but it happens. It's all good.
And I'm not knocking none of them.
Yeah.
I'm saying for me.
As for me in my house.
Look, I got this thing. When you get to a certain size, it's just certain things you just don't do. You know what I'm saying? At my size, to be in the line dance and popping a fan,
right.
Nah.
Now keep in mind, D, that's the only dance. Well, they've started instituting fans, and they do it in Tamia, But that's a line dance that actually is boots on the ground. Is supposed to use fans.
Exactly.
Everything else they kind of just import them.
They import them.
But I'm telling you, like them classes, when I teach the class, now it is predominantly women. Now for you single fellas out there, I'm just telling you. So it's predominantly women.
See, look, I don't think you should have told them. I should have told them. Yeah, because now you're going to have these dudes pulling up and just sitting outside like, yeah. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting on them to come out.
Please don't park in lot pimp. Like,
no, they ain't going to come in. They ain't coming in. They going to wait. They ain't coming in.
Well, scratch that from the records. We're going to scratch that from the records. Y'all stay home. Y'all find them another way. But man, no, I'm telling you, like I have a couple of partners that come and they come with their wives. Or I have a couple of partners who single that come and man, they have a ball. Cause I make it a fun environment, so you definitely come check out some point. When Boots on the Ground come, you go get you a drink or something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Where them fans at, man? Just take you a shot every time they say fans. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. I ain't got time.
The fan thing ain't.
But yeah, man. But that's definitely been a real good one. It's funny because I did it remember when we had the Arctic Blast? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was going to happen. No, but none of us knew that was going to happen, right? So I had one scheduled that Friday. And even though the city was getting closer back to normal, there were still some areas people were afraid to travel from because the bridge might have been icy or something like that. So I had like a group of maybe like 28 that showed up. But then we started posting and there was a couple of people that was like, yo, Ray, I got friends who didn't come the first time. They like, you need to run it again. And I had an event for kids that next week, but I hadn't like really got a turnout yet. So I was like, okay, we just going to postpone that event. I'm going to try to run it back. See, man, we went from 28 to 100 people the next week. So I'm like, maybe we got something here. Maybe people just enjoy doing this so much, and they got a new line dance every other day, bro. It's so hard to even keep up. But I go and I learn all the dances, and then I go and teach the classes. And, I make it fun, man. Like we just have a really good time. I break it down so no matter what their skill level is, like how comfortable it is, I make everybody feel comfortable, and they learn those dances, and they know them when they leave. Now the problem is if I don't have one for another month, some of them be to forgot them dances. They like, man, you gotta do it to me again, bro. I don't even remember how to do it, but like I say, man, all that to say is that we've created this very unique space in New Orleans East that is really for, I changed my motto at a point and I said the Hangout NOLA where anyone can be a kid, because I really want to encourage even us to just get back to that youthful side. Sometimes we just take life too serious because we have a whole lot to be serious about, right? We got bills, we have children to take care of, we have jobs, we have houses, we just have so much. And sometimes we just really just need to get back to the element that being a kid, bro, and just being like, man, just for a little bit.
Just for a little bit. Just give me that for a little.
Right.
Because, when you was a kid, you ain't had a care in the world. You ain't had a
all,
care in the world.
At all.
Say, bro, remember when we went outside and played football, basketball. Yep. We went did stuff outside that today I look at it and say, man, I don't hell, I ain't doing that. Like, just jumping off this step right here, I ain't doing that.
Like,
when I was 12, 13, I would jump from this top one
right,
right
and
here.
try to see if you can get to the grass.
Yeah.
Bruh,
now I'm like, I'm not even jumping off that last one.
Right.
I'm sitting down off that last one. But I get what you're saying, man. You just come be a kid, man. And you know what, bro? That's our culture, our community. We need that because, like you said, everything, we have a lot to be serious about. Not just with working, but with what goes on in this world. With just being black. You know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
We have a lot to be serious about. But to be able to go into a space where I could just say, you know what, I'm gonna leave all that at this front door right here, and I'm about to come in and just have fun. Yeah, that's and the beauty part about it is to be able to go in there and I ain't got to look over my shoulder. Right. I don't have to look over my shoulder. Absolutely. I don't have to worry about coming in here, coming off. I can just come in and just be me. Right.
We've just been blessed, bro, and I just consistently thank God and pray to God that never changes. We've just consistently had a space, even with the adults, where we've just never had any drama. Like, we've never had any drama. And I think it's about the culture you set, right? Mm-hmm. It's about the atmosphere you set. I think about a partner of mine, a lot of people know Brandon. You know Brandon Savage?
Yeah. So he was on the show.
Yeah. So B is just a real solid dude. Like, you feel the energy when you see his videos. He be clowning, whether he telling a story about a past relationship, he talking about, taco night at 1525, big 1525. It's like he just always has this, and he's been like, I've known him since 2018. Mm-hmm. And the first time I met him, he had that energy. Mm-hmm. Before he had his spot, before he had his barbershop and everything, the salon and everything, it was him doing his shirts, but it was his customer service. Like, it was just the way he just always went the extra mile to make sure that his clients were happy with the product. And it's just, when I think about 1525, when you think about the environment that they set over there, people, like, they run to it because they feel safe when they're there. They know they're going to just have a good time. They don't care who in there. Me and my girls, me and my boys, we just going to have a good time up in here. And that's the same thing I try to do in my space. Now, even though my space is more known for young people to be there, it's still, whoever is in here, I want you to have a good time. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you have a good time, to make sure your child have a good time, make sure you have a good time. Because that's the other thing is about our spaces, that it's in its root. In addition, even though we have the kids come in, like, there's a public and a private component to the hangout. And that private piece is parties, whatever type of event you may have. The only requirement we have is that it's for a 10-year-old up. So if you having whatever your birthday it is, you could have your party there, and a 10-year-old can also have their party there. Mm-hmm. So, like, we do corporate events. We've had Canes come over there and do Christmas parties. Like, we do a lot of stuff in the space like that too. But what people have grown to know us for is that public component. Mm-hmm. Or we do stuff for kids on Fridays. And like I said, every fourth Friday, we do an adult event. So, we get people in to give them an opportunity. Because some kids, if we didn't do the public events, they would never experience the hangout unless they had a friend or a relative who was having a party and then they came. And I'm telling you, it never fails, D. When people come in, they're like, bruh. I hear oftentimes the website don't do it justice. I didn't know this place was this big. Because we have really nice pictures on our website, but when you get in there, it feels different.
Because even when you do your videos and post them, when you looking, you see everything in the back, but you're like, damn, is it big? Is it big enough? Because you're like, damn, hold up, and I can see how you're walking there and be like, oh look, tell me this thing big, hold up,
man, our space, our space is probably about 3,900 square feet. Ooh. And it's like wide open.
Ooh, that's
so
a lot of space.
when you walk in there, it's like, I've had 80 people to 100 people in there for an event, and it still swallowed them. Like, it's a big space, bro. So there's a lot of room to have fun, to do a lot of things, especially once I start moving furniture around. Like, it's a lot of space to do what you need to do in there, man. So so it always feels different once you walk in, you know, because when I do my videos, my intent is always to make you feel like you right there. So I'm not trying to take D from way back here. I'm trying to get real close in person.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't really realize it from the videos. Then you walk in, you're like, man, like, yeah. But we consistently want to show up for the community, man. Like, we want to provide opportunities for the community to feel like this is my space too. It's not a YMCA. It's not public funded, you know, or state funded or something like that. It's definitely coming out of our pocket. So it is trying to help people understand it is still a private business, but we still want to have that community feel to it. You know, like, we've done stuff, you know, even when it came down to, you know, voting issues and things of that nature, like, you know, having those conversations amongst Black men about the importance to vote. We do stuff like that too. Like, there's things outside of just playing the games and stuff that we do to try to consistently push that community, you know, aspect, you know, of the business. So, you know, every opportunity that we get to partner with people and do things like that, we do. And, you know, I mentioned early on about the summer camp that we have this year. So I've been doing an entrepreneurial summer camp for like the past 2 years, but it's been like an after school. Like an after evening thing. So usually from 6 to 8. So I do filmmaking and photography professionally, right? So I teach that class. I had the first year I had a DJ class. So I have a good friend of mine who is a well-known DJ. He came in and he taught the class. And there's one young man who I now hire to DJ at the Hangout after he took that class. Like, he's just consistently building his craft. And I'm like, well, what sense does it make to not give him the opportunity to come in here and actually DJ amongst his peers? But the little dude, nice. His DJ name is DJ Serious. It's spelled like Sirius XM, but it fits him because he always looks serious. He always looks serious, bro. But he's an amazing DJ, and I'm just loving watching his growth. But I'm sticking my chest out because I'm thinking about, man, my partner taught him how to DJ, and my partner name is DJ Chris Dawes. I'm like, Chris taught him how to do it, and he's just growing and growing. And I mean, he be having like adults like mean mugging, like, boy, what you know about that? You know? So like, we've done that. Financial literacy. Cause I saw you had Bianca, you had Beatty on here one time. Last summer, she taught a nail class. At all them,
she told me about that.
Yeah.
She told me about that.
Man, them girls tore that class up, boy. They loved her. They loved her class, her energy. I would be serious in there, like, y'all said, but she like, wait, chill out, bro. Like, let them, like, I got it. Like, you know.
That's beating.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I'm talking about that's beating.
Yeah.
Dog. I'm talking about the energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unmatched, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
It's like,
it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. and she fired, bro. Like, so, you know, every time I had I would always bring amazing instructors in. We had an electrician 101 class, like all kind of stuff. Creative writing, visual arts, just a whole bunch of things that we've taught these kids to try to instill that entrepreneurial spirit in them. Yeah, it's fine working for somebody else. You know, it's also amazing working for yourself and being your own boss. It's also great if you do both. You know, I've done both for like my whole career. I've had my own business, but I've also worked, because, you know, sometimes you just also want to have that comfort of, I know it's going to be there, and I'm going to use this to fuel what my passion is. You know what I'm saying? But this year I decided, well, let me go full-fledged and do a full summer camp, a daytime summer camp. And I put it out there, but my crazy behind, bro, I just waited too late. Like, when people are looking for camps for their kids, especially people like my wife, they looking in January. They trying to find January, February, the soonest stuff dropped, they like, okay, let me sign my kid up because I know this one's gonna go fast. And I waited until late April to like put mine out there. Most people had already found camps. So like, the people that would have gravitated to my camp had already committed to other places. But God, right? Key, the organ at the You know that.
I know, my bad. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to do that. Hold up.
We're gonna rewind.
Let's rewind it. Let's do it
all right,
again.
All right. So I waited too late to do my camp. You know what I'm saying? And I only had a couple of people. But then, but God,
give it to him, brother.
Said, bro, we ain't supposed to. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are supposed to act a fool on this camera. Yes, we are. I'm about to say, no, we're not. Yes, we are. You know what I'm saying? Because
we on the porch. We on the porch. And we believe in God, but we just know we saw all our life in church.
Right.
That's all. We believe. But we know.
Yeah, but we know we saw. We know we saw. But man, I was blessed to get a partnership with the Asher Institute NOLA, which is led by Coach Lee Anderson. Connected with him, and a lot of people know Greg Tillery as well. So like those brothers came and met with me, and I had indirectly met Coach before, because I had an event, like I was telling you, like we do stuff in the space that deals around like community and voting and stuff like that. And we had an event in my space. It was an organization called People for Kamala, and they hosted an event at the Hangout, and he came to that event, and I'm sure we interacted, but I was just moving, letting people do what they do. And so when the partnership came about, the idea of it, he remembered that he had been there before, but he couldn't quite remember every aspect of it, or putting in his mind, how would a summer camp work here, right? So they agreed to meet with me. I called them up. I'm like, hey, Coach, I think that my space would be perfect to have a location in the East, because he's placing the camps in different parts of the city. And so it's like, if you allow my space to be utilized. I was already prepared to do a camp, but I just hadn't gotten it completely off the ground. But I was putting all the pieces and parts together, and I already know what to do, because I've been doing my camp in the evenings for a couple of years now. I just hadn't been doing it throughout the whole day. So they came and met me, and immediately when he walked in, he was like, "This is it. This is it." Man, like it's like he got a totally different vision of the space from the last time he had been in there, and he was super excited about doing the thing. Man, I put it on. I made a quick little video to announce that the partnership happened. I posted it at 7:00. I turned the Google form to sign up for the camp, because everything is paid for, everything is free. I turned it off during the early afternoon on Saturday. I had already passed the capacity, like in well under 24 hours. The camp completely filled up, just like that. Now I know we gravitate to stuff a lot easier when we know financially it's not the burden that we,
But it's, say, bro, like you said, but God,
but
he knew. He knew he saw a need.
Yeah.
And he said, you're gonna be able to supply the people with
need. Absolutely, man. And it's so many great things that come out of doing this camp. And I believe in doing things in excellence, bro. So I'm not gonna take like one shortcut in making sure that these kids get the best experience and that the parents get the best experience. Because that's just the way I just do things. That's the way the Hangout is. That's the way other businesses that I have been, just in excellence. And I may not always attain that, but I'm always striving for it. So as long as I'm consistently working towards it, I'm always going to either get there or get close enough to it, right? Wow. Man, so I partnered with this organization called the Asher Institute NOLA, and it's led by Coach Lee Anderson. And so like when I ended up making a quick little video that I posted at 7:00 on Friday after we made the partnership happen. And man, I had to turn it off like early afternoon the next day, because just like that, I had been shot past the capacity of the camp. And like I said, everything is completely free. And so like people gravitated to it, but like I wanted them, to know, like even with it being free, the excellence does not change.
Right.
Like, it's not like, oh yeah, because it's free. Like, it's just like whatever it's going to be. No, like there's still I have high expectations for the students, for the staff, for the parents, for myself. Right. So it's a two-way street. I don't want the parents to feel like I don't have to worry. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. No, we're going to impart in these kids specifically like entrepreneurial mindsets and ideas. They're going to create vision boards. They're going to have, pitches that they're going to do about businesses they may be interested in starting, maybe immediately, maybe sometime in the near future. I also have the great opportunity, man. I have a young lady who's a former staff member at the Hangout. She worked with us the summer we opened, and then she went off to college like right after that. But she got a full ride to Stanford, man. And so she's currently at Stanford. Yeah, you take that in for a second, right? Young lady, you talking about black excellence, bro. Like full ride to Stanford. And so she'll be helping with the camp, but she doesn't come home from school until like July, the very, very beginning of July. But we're also making a short film that she's submitting to Stanford. And my goal, my intent behind it is to utilize kids that are in the camp that are taking a film and photography class, to utilize them to help produce the film. So like I went into it knowing that I want to utilize them. And not only are we going to utilize them as the production team, but we're going to pay them to be the production team, right? Because I don't believe in just getting them and just say, okay, it's, when you can do it, you do it. So I want them to understand the value of what they do, but then that'll also help them realize that I'm only taking the ones who serious and who about doing this for real.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to just give you an opportunity to just get paid to do this just so you can say you did it. No, you got to show me that this is something you really want to do. You're going to show me through those actions when you're in class. Who's paying attention? Who's regurgitating the information? Who seems to have a passion to want to do it? And those kids are going to get opportunity. Not only are they going to get paid, but they'll have that experience, that hands-on experience to create a portfolio. So now they can say, I created a film for a college when I was in high school, when I was in junior high school, and that passion will drive them through. And that's the whole intent of the camp. Coach Anderson has different, he has like a theme that he's doing with the camps. But when he met me and I talked about what I was trying to do, he was like, do that. Do that. Go with that. Just go. So my camp, of the camps that he's creating, my camp is different because it's the only entrepreneurial camp. So we still going to have like the aspects where the kids obviously get to have fun. They have to hang out. So they're still going to get the game. They're still going to do stuff like that, right? But we might not be outside playing basketball or playing football or doing this or that. Because I'm going to have you inside learning about how you can create a business that centers around football. You might want to create an app, or you might want to go do this for that same love you have for this sport or whatever it is. Now you can figure out how to turn it into a business. Right. And so that's what they're going to gain from our camp. And, every time I do this camp, I always have the financial literacy piece, because you can't be successful
without
knowing. You can't run
and we didn't grow up with that.
Absolutely did not.
We did not
Absolutely did not,
We did not grow up with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we didn't grow up with it in school. We didn't grow up with it in our families. We wonder why our credit scores and our money looks so bad when we 18, 19, 20 years old. And not till we almost damn the 30, 40 years old, we started to get it straight.
Right.
Because we didn't have that part in our life that told us, this is how you manage your money. This is how you properly use credit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because for people our age in their 40s and 30s who do have a good credit, they don't know how to properly use it. Even though credit score probably 700, but they scared to use it because it's like, oh no, is that a 7? They told me I can't do this and because I got to keep it up.
Right.
No, it's a proper way to use it. You got to use it.
Right.
You got to use it, but it's a proper way of using it to where you can keep it there and then keep yourself financially straight with
Absolutely.
it. You know what I'm saying? So that is amazing to be able to do that.
And I'm just like, no matter how we change the classes, like that's a class that stays consistent, because I'm like, I can't teach you about business and not teach you the proper way to handle the money that's involved with that business. Because you can go and invent something and get rich fast and then blow it all because you don't know what to do with the money. You don't know how to properly save, to invest and stuff like that. So last summer, my homegirl, Elena, shout out to the Organized Money. Look her up on Instagram. She is well known, man. She's traveled the world. And she took time out of her busy schedule to come and teach the kids at the Hangout during the summertime, and those kids ate that up, man. Like, she was teaching them all kind of stuff about their money, and you adjust it based on their age, to try to help them understand. But the camp is from ages 8 through 14, so there's a plethora of things they're going to learn, and so it's gonna be dope, man. I'm super excited. My daughter
just missed it, bro. She just both of them just missed it. God damn. Bro.
Oh yeah, are they twins?
Yeah, man. 15. God damn, bro. 14.
And look, and the funny thing is, that's kind of an extensive age, because a lot of times after 12, the camps kind of phase out with the teens because they start to train them to be counselors in training, CITs. So your daughters would be trained to come there and work with the kids, as opposed to being a camper themselves. So to have it to 14 is actually like a stretch beyond the norm. When you look up most camps, they normally phase out around 12, maybe 13. Now Coach Anderson has a camp. Now it's not the entrepreneurial camp, but he has a camp that he'll be doing at the one he's doing at the YMCA has on Aretha Castle Haley. Like, that one has a more extensive age range. So he starts lower and he goes higher than me. So that's a camp that your daughters could definitely go to.
Entrepreneur camp, bro. You talking about some dogs on you? Why black dudes gotta do all that? You like, man, I want what you got. And then they go there too.
Well, you could
go over here and he got X, Y, and Z, and you like, bro, did you just hear what I said?
My bad, dog.
I wanted that.
My bad. You're right. You're right. Now, what I also will say is that there are, even though his camp isn't the same, like he's not, I did realize that he has some entrepreneurial aspects of his camp. It's just that mine was extremely focused on that. Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, what I'm also considering is, based on the amount of kids I'll have, I may need volunteers. So if your babies will want to come and volunteer, they could end up getting the information just from being there without being a camper. Like, they could assist a teacher with kids, but they'll get all the information. Okay. So I definitely keep in contact with them.
They can volunteer. They need to do something during the summer. Yeah, they can volunteer.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What school they go to?
De La Salle.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah,
they can definitely volunteer.
So you didn't even talk to them. You know, they going.
Yeah. They can go volunteer. Hey, they can go volunteer.
Yeah. But yeah, man. It's just, again, it's great things that we're doing at the Hangout. My prayer is that God consistently makes those connections, those avenues, to where we can keep going, because the community needs it. People tell me all the time, and I take this to heart every single time, man. People tell me, man, keep doing what you're doing, bro. I know it's probably hard, but keep going, dog. If you can keep going like that, that really pushes me, because I feel like he sends someone to tell me that right when I'm like,
see, that's it. I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. Not just keep going, but as long as you doing it to build his kingdom, he got you. You ain't gotta worry about it. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
I could tell you keep going, but if you ain't doing it to build his kingdom, he ain't got you on that. That's just being honest.
That's real.
You want the honest truth?
That's real.
If you ain't doing it to build his kingdom, he ain't got you on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, nah, you out there on your own.
Right.
But if you're doing it to build his kingdom, he got you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So just keep doing kingdom work, bro. You good. That's all. That's all. That's all. You good. You ain't gotta worry about it. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
I received that.
Yeah.
Brother.
So, that's all y'all gotta keep doing, man. Dang. But yeah, bro. Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you for having me on, man.
No problem.
It's been an absolute blessing, bro.
No problem, bro. I'm glad you enjoyed it, big dog. Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Look, I appreciate you coming by the porch, bro. I know it's hot right now, but it is what it is. Next time I bring some snowball, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I go right around. We go walk over to the Red Rooster and get
come on, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
We get Red Rooster in here. And then I wanted to say before, with all the shout outs we did to everybody around here, I'm going to make sure I tag Brandon and say, look, bro, I'm coming to 1555 and get me a steak. And it's on him, not nobody else.
Yeah.
Bro, I want my steak. I want something to drink. And then I want a section. Now, you don't have to rope it off for me or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to rope it off. I just want to be able to sit at the table, get a plate of food, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all on, it's going to be on him.
Big 1525.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be on him, though. But we got to make sure it's on him.
It's on him.
Yeah, it's on him. Not
on us.
Not on us.
On him.
It's on him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, let be no, His ass can't sit on this porch, too. It's on him.
It's on him. Absolutely.
Man, but anyway, bro, I appreciate you coming sit by, Ray. Thank you so much. Man, what you doing in the community, bro? You can't. Hey, man, we need it. And we need it. We need it. Not just in New Orleans East, we need it all over.
Yeah.
Because we need to be able to give our kids somewhere to be a kid.
Yep.
Because with all the stresses and things they have today, kids cannot be kids, and they actually wearing the weight of the world on their back, just like an adult.
Yeah.
And that's where the anger coming from. That's where all these problems that we having with our teens are coming from. People don't know it, but they got the weight of the world on their back like they 30 years old.
Yeah.
And they 15.
Yeah, man.
And they 12, 10. From whatever's going on in the house, it's the weight of the world. And they don't have an outlet to be a kid. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for doing that for our kids, bro.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Salute.
You know what I'm saying? To giving them that aspect, giving them that space, But I ain't gonna be popping no fan of the line dance thing, bro.
It's all good.
Yeah,
listen, we gonna get D to come out to the line dance class. No fan. He gonna come there. Make sure, man, y'all pull up on us. 9954 Lake Forest Boulevard, Suite 5, New Orleans East. Follow us on the Hangout. Follow us on Instagram at the Hangout NOLA, and our website is thehangoutnola.com. Very easy to find us, man. Easy. You can always call, text 504-420-7757. Man, I'm easy to find.
Man, if they from here, they know where Lake Forest at.
Right.
You know where Lake Forest at. You exit Crowder, and even if you exit Crowder, ride your behind down. Exit Reed, go the opposite way. Right. They know where Lake Forest at. We ain't gotta. Y'all know where Lake Forest at, man. It's on Lake Forest. You're gonna see a big old sign from the parking lot say Hangout NOLA. Come on in there.
We out here.
Say, bro, if they don't know how to get to Lake Forest, they ain't from here. That's just that simple. If they don't know how to get to Lake Forest,
they might be in NOLA.
The hell with the NOLA people. I'm on New Orleans, man. Look, if they don't know how to get to Lake Forest, they ain't from out here. Yeah. Right now, ask that question today when you next time you go on live or whatever. Right. Ask them if people know how to get to Lake Forest. I bet you everybody in this city know how to get to Lake Forest.
They better.
Yeah.
They better. Well, if you don't know how to get to Lake Forest, you ain't never been in the plaza.
You ain't from New Orleans, man. If you don't know how to get to Lake Forest, come on, man. Yeah. I know how to get to Lake Forest from catching RT in high school. Right there, going to Fauché, get the Ferret, the Canal Street, then get on the Lake Forest. Right. And get to the plaza. Man, y'all know how to get to Lake Forest, man. You ain't from here, man.
Interview over. Yeah, you don't know how to get to Lake Forest, interview over.
Man. He on Lake Forest, man. Hangout NOLA, man. If you want to be simple, exit Crowder and go your behind on Lake Forest till you run into it.
Let's go.
Man, thank you. Get ready for coming out, bro.
Yes, indeed.
Hangout NOLA. Man, look.
Already. On the porch, we out here. From the night water uptown.
Man, you hollering that too loud now, bro.
I am.
You hollering that way too loud, bro. You gotta remember we still uptown now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you gotta remember we still uptown.
That's true.
Yeah, you hollering that way too loud.
The gentrification kind of threw me off.
Yeah, I know how. Yeah, we still uptown now. Yeah. See, bro, you can't always have people come on your porch, man. Look, didn't want to do this, so I gotta put him out now because he went hollering.
All right, man.
I'm
gonna holler at y'all. Man, y'all be blessed.
Oh, my boy.